The Father's Return. Michelle sat alone in her car outside church, pretending to scroll through her phone. It was Father's Day, June 18th, 2017. Social media was flooded with smiling photos. Daughters hugging dads, brunches, barbecues, best dad ever mugs. She scrolled past them all with a tight jaw and a hollow chest. She had always told herself it didn't matter. She was 10 when her father left. No warning, no explanation. One evening he was there and the next morning gone. Just a folded note on the kitchen table that read, "I'm sorry. I can't do this anymore." Michelle's mother had never really talked about it. She just started working double shifts at the hospital and cried quietly in the bathroom when she thought Michelle was asleep. Michelle grew up fast. She excelled in school, built a life that looked put together on the outside, and told herself she didn't need him. But every Father's Day, it still hurt. Years passed. In 2014, at the age of 26, Michelle was invited to a women's retreat by a coworker. She went reluctantly, but something cracked open in her. The speaker shared about God as a perfect father, and for the first time, Michelle wept, not out of anger or bitterness, but longing. Over the next few months, she began to explore faith. She started reading the Bible, asking questions, and eventually gave her life to Christ on December 2nd, 2014. It was a quiet moment in her bedroom. Just her tears, and the overwhelming sense that she was known, seen, and deeply loved by the Father who would never leave. Still, the wound from her earthly father remained. She buried it under ministry involvement, work, and weekly worship. Until one Sunday, as the pastor preached about the prodigal son, his voice echoed through the sanctuary. The Father runs toward the broken. He meets us before the apology, before the explanation. Michelle sat frozen in her seat. Something about those words, before the explanation, hit her hard. Tears welled up. As the congregation bowed their heads for prayer, she felt a quiet but clear whisper in her spirit. "Extend the grace you've received." Her heart pounded. She hadn't spoken to her father in almost 15 years. She didn't even know if he was alive. That afternoon, trembling, she dug through old boxes and found the last address she had from him, somewhere in Dayton, Ohio. She wrote a short letter. "I don't know if this will reach you or if you even want to hear from me, but I'm writing to say I forgive you. I found peace through Jesus, and if you're open, I'd like to talk." 3 weeks passed. Then an envelope arrived. She held it for hours before opening it. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Michelle," it began, "I have prayed for this moment for years. I didn't know how to find you or if I even deserved to. I gave my life to Jesus in 2016. I'm not the same man who left. I would love the chance to know you, even if just a little." They started with phone calls, and gradually the walls came down. He told her about his journey, how guilt had nearly consumed him, how a coworker named Henry invited him to a men's Bible study, how he cried during his first church service in over 2 decades. In September 2020, Michelle flew to Ohio. When she stepped off the plane and saw him waiting near baggage claim, she nearly froze. But then, like the father in the parable, he stepped forward, teary-eyed, arms open. Now they talk every week. He sends her devotionals. She sends him pictures of her garden. And on Father's Day 2023, they sat side by side at her church in Atlanta. During worship, Michelle reached for his hand. He gave it a gentle squeeze. They didn't need to say anything. God had already written the words, "He was lost and now is found." If you've written someone off, ask God for the courage to reach out. Start with prayer. Ask God to soften your heart and prepare theirs. Even if you never speak again, it changes you. Take one small step. A message, a letter, a prayer. You never know what God has already been doing on the other side of the story.